What's going on, my beautiful, wonderful family here on the RDDC? You know what time it is. It is time for another episode, and welcome to all the new listeners and all the veteran listeners to another episode of Heck versus Hell, where the truth we tell. If you don't know me, I am Hector Rivera, back here once again on this wonderful God-ordained, God-given platform that we're just so blessed to be a part of and blessed to have a place to where we can uplift one another and share the revelations. And that's going to be more also coming soon with the hashtag GCC. That's the God Code Collective, where we'll be doing different types of Bible study, prayer meetings, different group setting situation, so we could all come together. That should already be rolling out by now, by the time this episode comes out. However, there are a couple different things that we have to get in line and get ready and prepared for that, as well as the other rollout that will be coming soon. I'll let Lex roll that out with me once we get on another TSMA episode. That is the True Seekers Mastermind Alliance episodes. If you haven't heard those, go check them out. People love them. We've seen all the downloads. Thank you so much for everyone that is listening and tuning in, because the love and support on those is just amazing, as well as on this. So many people from so many different places and parts of the world. That is just amazing how incredible the internet, Wi-Fi has interconnected us all to be able to share these type of messages from one point and place in the world to somewhere thousands and thousands of miles away, which is just incredible. You know, God bless. God bless. So yeah, let's look into this one right here. This is a really nice one that I was thinking about and that I was really interested in looking at. And it's part of letting go, right? Part of leaving the past behind and leaving that old you behind. That's exactly what this episode is going to be about. You know, and there's so much things that we have to continuously grow with and continue to weed out of our garden, the garden of our heart. Oh man, we haven't done that episode yet. Oh, okay, that's going to be an awesome one too. But a lot of things that we have to continuously grow out of, you know, weed out when it comes to certain nature, certain habits, certain beliefs that we have to just get rid of, just let go of, and no longer have a part of us, and get into the true alignment with the belief system that we hold, to align with the spiritual self and the spiritual nature in which we were created, which is very vital and very important. It's something that allows us to flow into that God-ordained purpose, right? As we always talk about, as we always speak about, which is exactly what we are placed here to do. And that's the goal we should be reaching towards. That's the goal we should be aiming for, is continuously ensuring that we are moving in that direction. And one of those things is letting go of the past. You know, I've seen people that are 50, 60, 80 years old, and they are still living with a certain nature of the old lifestyle, right? They still have trauma that they haven't let go of. Now, I understand that takes a little bit more time, and there's healing that has to do with those certain situations, however deep it may be. It might be something lightweight that you may not really even feel any type of pain over, but it still needs to be something that is let go of. But there's also different situations where certain relationships in the past, certain places even in your past, in the past life, right? Because we become new creatures in Christ and we have to die daily, every single day. So there are so many things that we just have to let go on and move from. And this is really based off of Lot and his wife. And it really goes to show, number one, how, you know, people try to go, and this is something that you can also utilize if people ask, well, if God is so good and all loving and all this and all that, why did he do mass genocide, or why was there mass killings where he just wiped out entire cities? And Lot and his wife, that portion in the Bible is a really good reference into where we can understand why it is that God does what he does sometimes. And that goes into that place. I can't remember the place. I can't remember the name of the place. But that's whenever Lot and his wife were living in there. And he told them, well, get out of the city. I'm going to destroy it. And Lot came to him. He's like, don't destroy the city. Let me go and find this many people. And God gave him that permission. He said, if you find 50 righteous people in the city, I will not destroy it. And Lot went. He went searching for it. He came back to God. He's like, God, I couldn't find that many. He's like, but please, there has to be some in there. And he's like, okay, go back. If you can find 25 righteous people. I can't remember the numbers exactly. All right, don't quote me. Don't get angry. Don't get upset. Do correct me. But he went back. He went searching for them again. And he's like, if you can find me 10 people, I will not destroy that city because of those 10. Same thing. Lot went searching for them and he couldn't find them. Came back to God. He said, if you can find me one righteous person in the city, I will not destroy it. And Lot couldn't do it. He could not do it. He could not find that one person that was righteous, that one person that was good. Because as Christ said, there is no one good but the Father. But in the same way, they were so tainted and living in such wickedness to where not even a hint of righteousness was in them. Because God still called Job righteous, right? So there's a certain standard in place, and God is the one that ultimately makes that standard. So people can't get mad at God for being God. But whenever they want to go and have different types of abortion and take control of human life and say, hey, it's my will, my decision, my will, it's fine if they play God. All right, let's not get too much into that. But, there's that portion in the word. And then he's like, okay, you couldn't find any. I'm going to destroy the city. Take your wife and leave. Do not look back when you were leaving. And they started running. They started going and they left the city. And Lot's wife turned back and looked. And at that moment, she was turned into a pillar of salt. Now, it's actually really, really incredible that it speaks about that. And that's something else that we got to dive into as well, is why his wife was taken. And it has to be something very deep, because if we look at Job's wife was the only thing that was not touched in his life. Besides, him being alive, his wife was not touched. She was there, and she was even telling Job to curse God. So what makes those two different, right? Regardless of the fact, she looked back. She looked back at what he brought them out of. And it was a spit in the face to God, really. Because it's like, why are you looking back at it? Why are you reminiscing? I have something greater for you. It was the same thing with the Israelites. They brought them up out of Egypt and said, hey, you were going to go through a sanctification period. Once you get there, I will lead you to the land of milk and honey, the promised land. And they kept looking back. They kept saying, man, Moses, you should have just left us in Egypt. You should have just left us there. And because of that, also because Moses went and he didn't have the patience to run through all of that, and he just kept getting complaints and worshiping of different statues and all this other stuff. Because of that, it had to cleanse out that generation, and that generation didn't make it to the promised land. So imagine that. He told them, hey, I will bring you up out of Egypt and take you into the promised land. Now, he still fulfilled his promise by taking the generations of those people, of those Israelites, into the promised land. However, those people did not get to see the promise because they kept looking back. In the same way, how can we fulfill our purpose in this world if we keep looking back? There are situations in life where we just can't go back to. Even places where we just cannot go back to, because all it's going to bring is a resurfacing and resurrection of that you that is supposed to be dead. whether it be you going back to a certain person or relationship, and now you've undone all the progress you've made because you've gone back into people pleasing. You've gone back into idolship, making that relationship your idol. You've gone back into smalling yourself and smothering the fire and light that you are in order to make other people feel like they are on the same level with you. Right? And it's not to say, hey, be prideful, be arrogant, but we have to see ourselves as a light. And people of this world, we have to understand that they are people of this world. We do have a different hierarchy. It's not to say be prideful, don't have compassion over them, but see it in that manner of we have to be the ones to reach down and help. Right? Because we are on that elevational cusp of the spirit. But even in that manner, if you look at it, scripturally and biblically, of how it talks about Paul running the race. Paul's constantly telling us to run on the race, and Christ, how he had his mind and eyes set on the cross the whole time through his ministry, even through his childhood. I have to be about my Father's business. How could he do that if he was looking back? Imagine a runner that goes and he's running track, right? They have the Olympics where they run track. Imagine a runner looking back. Not even whenever they're passing the baton do they look back. They reach their hand back and they say, pass it to me and I'll continue it forward. But they don't look back, because imagine how many times they will stumble, get off track, lose speed if they look back. Looking back causes stumbling, and it's something that we have to avoid. Paul speaks about that very prominently. Even whenever it comes to if a brother does not eat a certain type of meat or is vegetarian or doesn't drink wine, don't drink wine in front of them. Do not cause your brother to stumble, right? We are in this together. Yes, absolutely. And that's the whole reason of why you cannot stumble, because people are also looking up to you. Whether you are the black sheep in your family, the one that is born again, the one that is following Christ diligently, even if it's not so diligent right now, even if you're having a few issues and hiccups in your life, you were the one that is following Christ. You were the one that was chosen out of your family. Now you are the one that needs to extend that light unto them. And if they constantly see you stumbling and falling and faltering in your faith, how can they come into it? Because they will be in their mind thinking, well, what's different? He hasn't really changed. He's in the same situation as we knew him in. He's the same person that we knew him as. A prophet will not get peace in his own home. Nor can a prophet go back to his home and try doing signs and wonders and bring that light to be. You have to leave certain locations, certain relationships, certain things that God has brought you out of in order to get to that elevational perspective. And I say that, yes, from experience. I say that very, very confidently and certainty from experience, because, hey, I've been doing a little bit of stumbling myself, and I'm not too proud of it at all. I've talked about it in testimony we just had, maybe 3 episodes ago, and another one that we're going to go into that's more in depth, that's going to be more details of what is going on in my figment of imagination for any type of law enforcement that is listening. But regardless, we have to understand that, because even with Christ went back into Nazareth, and they only saw him as the carpenter's boy. And it wasn't until he got to that point where he fulfilled his duty and fulfilled his purpose that change was able to be made. There are other people, some situations where other people are meant to go into those situations, and it's not supposed to be your job. Even whenever it does come to family situation, if you are the black sheep of the family and you do have to walk away from that family, that's something that I've done. I've had to walk away from it, and they see me as a godly man. I've gotten that confirmation. I've heard it from other people that they've told. They see me as a godly man, but they wonder why I stumble. And yes, I am still man. I am still flesh. And there is certain situations where I fall. But is something that may not be my responsibility in terms of making sure that they hear and understand true life. They can see it. They can feel it. But for them to actually drink the water may be someone else's responsibility. Right? Just as Paul says, you may just be the one to plant the seed and someone else has to come by and water it. But ultimately, God is the one that multiplies. And that's why it's so crucial. It's really, really crucial that we let go of those situations in order to run our race properly. And it's prayer. It's prayer and speaking to God, is understanding his will, understanding if it is a situation where you can bring certain people out of, where you can help them. But it's not you going and reaching back out to certain people in the past saying, yes, come with me. I found new life. I'm a new person. See me as a new person. Because then that kind of almost becomes to be pride. In the same way that the devil was telling Christ to prove himself. If you are the Son of God, turn these rocks into bread. And you are going back in those situations and saying, look who I am. Do you need a sign? Because I can do it for you. Do you need me to pray for you? Because my prayers are powerful. It can become pride. That's why it's very, very crucial to have that prayer. Now, yes, there will be situations where God will allow them to come back into your life as a test. Or there is different situations where, hey, you know what? You do cross paths with them and they see and feel that you are a new person. And you can have that conversation. You can be able to help them understand life. But whenever it goes to those different circumstances, it always has to be discernment in which we place first in order to understand whether it is something that is you being tested or something where that was placed in your life for the reason of you bringing the gospel of Christ to them, for you allowing the watering that someone else has already planted into their life, so that you may pray for them right then and there, and they give their life to Christ in that very moment. It is all up to discernment, but seeking and searching in those situations can become very prideful. And I know because I've done it myself. I have kind of seek those situations, trying to spread the love of God, and it is righteous in a way, but it can become over-righteous. It could become overzealous, right? And Proverbs speaks about that very well as well. Don't be over-righteous, for you could die before your time, right? So it's all discernment. It's all walking with discernment and understanding. I mean, I had a moment today, an instance today, where I thought I was right and I wanted, some faith to be had in me. And God turned around and showed me a few hours later, nope, you were wrong. You were completely wrong. And I'm like, okay, God, I'll humble myself. So, it's always going to be discernment. It's always going to be constantly being in prayer, and that's constantly speaking to God. Which direction should I take? Should I go into this store or not? Sometimes there's just going to be no resistance. But I hear Lex say all the time, something told me, even in the littlest situations, something told me to take an ibuprofen. And boom, 3 minutes later, I started getting a gnawing pain on my side. And I'm so glad that I took it so that I could set in my system faster. That's literally what she told me yesterday. So it's like that kind of relationship, that kind of communion with Christ, with the Holy Spirit, with God is very, very essential so that we can walk the best way we can. It's an alignment. It's a unity. It's a oneness. And it is so damn beautiful. I love each and every one of you. I hope you have a blessed one. And as always, stay updated. Continue to look at the Blogspot blog page, the website. But we will catch you on the flip side.